Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another kid-free weekend. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
And you may hear in the background Sophie, the kid-free dog. She is rolling around trying to scratch her back, which is just one of the funniest things animals can do.
It's so adorable.
It is. Sometimes I feel kind of bad that they can't reach their back and scratch it, but it's also just so cute. She's still working on it. She's in a pile of blankets, but she's going to get that itch. Say hi, Sophie. No? Okay. Are you recording her right now?
I was hoping she would do something funny, but she didn't. Okay.
So it's a video of us talking and introing the podcast while you're watching Sophie roll around?
Yes.
Okay. So we're back, and we're back for good tootin' reasons.
Tootin'?
Rootin', tootin'.
Okay.
Good reasons. We have some stuff going on, but I thought it's about time we sort of resurrect this feed, maybe inject some new life into it, because we used to talk about all kinds of pop culture stuff. The last time we talked, it was with Mr. Jonathan Neverfails.
I love him.
The second of our stars of the 80s classic hit, No Retreat, No Surrender. First Kurt McKinney, then Jonathan Neverfails, and who knows, maybe in a few years we'll reach out to someone else too. That'd be awesome. But we haven't posted a podcast here in a long time. Now, if you don't listen to Pot of Thrones, there were a couple good reasons. We moved. That took up some time.
Right.
And then
health problems.
And then I was in the hospital a few times with some kidney issues.
Correct.
Stay hydrated, people. If you haven't heard me say this on the Pot of Thrones network, whatever. Stay hydrated. It's really important. I am peeing like every hour now.
It's so annoying.
But I'm healthier for it, I hope.
I just don't see how that's realistic.
Peeing every hour?
Right.
Well, we were just watching an episode of The Walking Dead during dinner. Great combo, by the way. And I cannot imagine how, everyone's there got to have like some stage of renal failure. There's no way you're staying properly hydrated. You're in, first Georgia and then Virginia, which gets pretty hot. Not as bad as Georgia, but still. You're going to get dehydrated walking around all the time.
Well, they found a way to solve that problem.
I guess so. But I just can't see them using so much water that they're peeing every hour.
Yeah, well, moving on.
Hopefully that will not be a problem in our lives, in our lifetime. Anyway, so that's what we've been doing. But we're trying to get back into the swing of being normal, functioning adults now and putting a house together and podcasting. So we're back, and we're here because we saw another wonderfully inspirational movie, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Now, this movie has made big waves for being the first Marvel movie to star a female superhero.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Black Widow's been in a bunch of movies, but she hasn't been the star of a movie. She's not the title character. Think about everybody else, Black Panther, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, a bunch of dudes, sometimes with cool female sidekicks.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But a bunch of dudes. So prior to this, we did have Wonder Woman, so DC actually beat them
to the punch
of being first with a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Wonder Woman, we did a podcast all about that. You found it.
I loved it.
Very inspirational.
Choked
you up a little bit. You were verklempt.
I was.
So how did Captain Marvel make you feel? I don't know if anyone knows this. You're a female. So I'd really like your take first and foremost, but then we can talk about the nitty gritty details.
Okay.
How did it make you feel?
It made me feel okay. I wasn't blown away, maybe because that had already been spoiled by Wonder Woman. I don't know.
Well, but yeah, you can't.
It's
your
not,
first time's always special, right?
Right. So, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I just found a little bit of cornball-ishness.
Which part? See, Wonder Woman has taken a lot of hits from people thinking that the ending was cornball, even though the movie itself was fantastic. The whole love will beat war thing in a very literal sense. It's taken some punches, but overall, I think the movie still holds up pretty well. Now, Captain Marvel, you thought was a little cheesy.
Well, some of the CGI effects were a little bit too much cartoony, but I think they chose to do it that way.
Like the Skrulls? The shapeshifters, or like...
Well, like when with her glowy eyes and her mohawk helmet thing.
The mohawk helmet, yeah.
That was just a little too much for me.
I don't think we'll be seeing much of the mohawk helmet.
I hope not. I hope that's not going to be a staple.
But did this movie inspire you? Did it make you want to go out and punch bad guys in the face like Wonder Woman did? We walked out of Wonder Woman. You punched like 3 dudes.
No, it did not.
Right.
I don't know. I think Wonder Woman, I think really did spoil it for me.
But there is a real... Okay, so Wonder Woman was... Oh, God, I can't remember now. Did that come out after Justice League?
Oh,
Justice League was kind of disappointing, but it had a few good Wonder Woman moments, if nothing else. And now we've had Aquaman. But I don't know when Wonder Woman 2 is coming out. But the nice thing is Captain Marvel is about to, from what people are speculating at least, is about to become the keystone hero of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we're about to get more of her in Infinity War. Avengers Endgame. And then I'm sure she'll have her own sequels, but she's going to be like the main Avenger from now on, probably. Yeah. I don't know. We don't know exactly for sure who's going to die in Avengers Endgame, though we can certainly speculate. But she's kind of a big deal. We don't know when we're getting more Wonder Woman. So at least we have this, right?
Right. It seems like a great way to start.
All right. So let's talk about the basic, like the plot. Let's talk about what happened. Hopefully you guys have seen this by now. We saw it a week ago, on a kid full weekend. We took the whole family out to see Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. All right. So this movie takes place in the 90s, which wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I thought 80s for some reason, but okay. 90s is fun. We still have Blockbuster videos and things. But we have this lady who thinks her name is Veers, but she's actually Carol Danvers from Earth. But she thinks she's a Kree, and she has blue blood. So that was kind of weird. Because, like, I knew she was supposed to be someone from Earth. I knew the name Carol Danvers from my very limited comic book knowledge, but I didn't understand why she had blue blood. So maybe we should deconstruct the plot line a little bit. So she started off on Earth. She was a pilot, or an aspiring pilot, but she wasn't allowed to fly combat missions because the military was all backwards and fucked up. Right. But she got involved in this Project Pegasus. Mm-hmm. And she had Annette Bening to guide her. Right.
She was Annette Bening was actually a hard ass in this one. Although she's been a hard ass in a couple movies.
I can't even think of the last movie I saw Annette Bening in. But I know, I don't know. I know she's been in tons of shit. Mm-hmm. But I can't tell you what right now off the top of my head. Damn it. Still married to Warren Beatty, right?
I don't know.
I think they're still married. All right. Well, anyway, so Annette Bening's there, and she's working on an experimental engine for the Air Force, or a secret government project called Pegasus, right? Mm-hmm. So it turns out that Annette Bening is also a Kree. So Kree appear to come in a couple different shades. That's nice. They're a very diverse universe, or planet. So you have... because she's a Kree, some of the Kree are just blue. Do you remember the first Kree we ever saw in a Marvel movie? At least I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. Ronan the Accuser from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Oh, Yondu, right. Yondu. I think he's also a Kree. He certainly has the blue skin. Uh-huh. Okay, I think we actually saw Ronan the Accuser first, and he was in this movie. So we think of them as blue skin, but some of them apparently are not. That's all I'm trying to say about that. So some of them can blend in with Earth humans.
Okay. Well, it makes sense if they're a diver. Maybe they're all marrying. What do you call it? Anyway.
Okay. Well, we have different colors of people here on Earth, so why not on other planets? I think that's fair.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So Annette Bening is working on this Lightspeed engine. Things go south. They get attacked and shot down. Mm-hmm. And
Bree's flying one of the planes. They're in separate planes, right?
Right. So, the people that shoot them down, at first, Captain Marvel thinks that it's some green-skinned dude with pointy ears, which turns out to be a Skrull.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, we find out later in the movie that it's not a Skrull. It's her actual friend, a Kree dude. Played by, what's his name? I've got the cast list right here. Jude Law, but he's playing a character named Jan Rog. Look, I'm all verklempt now. Excuse me. So Jan Rog is Jude Law's character name. So it turns out that it's him, and there's actually some problems going on between the Krees. So Annette Bening's character, whose name turns out to be... I remember you didn't like this name.
What was it?
Marvel. You made fun of it when we left the theater.
I did?
Yes. All right, never mind. So Annette Bening's character turns out to be named Marvel, and then we have Jan Rog. So keep track of all those. Uh-huh. But I guess there's factions in the Kree stuff. So Marvel is trying to help some people, and Jan Rog wants to stop her and take what she was working on for this Lightspeed engine. And all of it comes down to Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, shooting this power supply. And it explodes so that Jan Rog can't get it. And instead, it all just sucks up into her skin. And that's where she gets her powers from. So we get a little origin story, though it takes most of the movie to actually see it happen.
Right.
Right.
So what does she have in her veins? What is she running on now?
Magic plasma, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
I'll buy that.
So what was Marvel's deal? She was trying to help some people.
She was trying to help the...
I thought I'd turn it over to you for a while.
No, don't do that. Okay. Just following along.
So it turns out Marvel was trying to help the Skrulls, where the rest of the Kree Empire is trying to destroy all the Skrulls. And it seems to be like a real prejudicial, racist kind of thing. Like, all Skrulls are bad, we must destroy them all because they can shapeshift and we don't know who they are.
Yes.
There could be a political message in there somewhere. It's hard to say.
It seemed like there was.
Do you think that they were really trying for that? Or I don't know how far this goes into Marvel lore because I don't know that much about the comic book universe, but it seemed a little heavy-handed, right?
Yeah, it was a little too current.
A little too current?
Don't you think?
Look, we watched Game of Thrones and the wildlings and the wall thing. I mean, that was practically pulled from today's headlines. The only thing Trump doesn't have is a dragon.
Right. He just needs to get an orange dragon.
Oh. Spits Cheeto dust on people.
Oh my
God. Yeah, so it seemed a little bit like from the headlines, but we didn't get all that through most of the movie. For a long time, we thought the Skrulls were the bad guys, and we thought the Kree were the good guys. I mean, Carol, maybe this was a little too heavy-handed looking back on it, but at one point, Carol is trying to explain who the Kree are to Nick Fury, and he's like, so the Kree are a bunch of super space warriors or whatever. And she's like, no, they're heroes. We're super space heroes or whatever it was she said. But she wanted to point out, like, we are the heroes of this situation. That's all I've ever known because I had amnesia from plasma juice. And so it was we had to like really flip it around on its head, but it took, it was a good half the movie. Did you see that twist coming? That the Skrulls were actually not that bad?
Mm-mm.
I think one of the casting choices made that a little bit difficult because the head Skree was played by Ben Mendelsohn, who, if you don't know him from anything else, he was in Rogue One. He was the big bad Krennic, the guy who created the Death Star.
Huh.
Yeah. And he was also Nolan Sorrento, the bad guy from Ready Player One. So, like, he's been in a lot of pop culture recently, but he's playing complete assholes every time. And they introduce him in this movie, and it seems like he's the leader of the bad guys again. But then it turns out he's not. He just wants his kids back and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you tear up at all? Maybe. When they got together.
Yeah, well, I think I teared up a little bit, but I don't know. All I can really remember is the end because it was so like spectacular.
Okay. I want to find out which part was spectacular, so let's get there. All right, so let's see. All of this winds up revolving around the Tesseract.
Right.
That's really what it comes. So Captain Marvel comes to Earth. She meets Nick Fury. She meets Agent Coulson. They're both CGI'd backwards 30 years, which is impressive.
Yeah.
Coulson looked a little plastic, I thought, but Nick Fury looked amazing.
It hasn't changed much.
In real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you give him a clean shave and do his hair just right, you probably wouldn't have to do too much touching up on him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Coulson looked a little plastic. But they find Carol Danvers. She's crashed Earth. She thinks she's this hero named Veers. She's trying to destroy the Skrulls before they get this lightspeed engine, which they'll use to infect the galaxy. Now, it turns out they just want a home of their own. They want to get away from the Kree and use the lightspeed engine to go very, very far.
Right.
And,
so,
yes.
Are they like part of a bigger organization, or are they just like this group of people that are doing this?
The Skrulls?
No, the Veers and...
Oh, the Kree people. Well, there's different divisions of the Kree, and I would like to see this movie again. I'm looking forward to it, because there was a reference early on in the movie. Jan Rog was getting his team ready to go extract this spy of theirs that was on this other world, not the Kree homeworld, but the Kree has like a vast empire, right? But they know that there's Skrulls on the world, and they know that, they're trying to get their spy out before the Skrulls get to him and take all of his intelligence data, right? But they mentioned somewhere while they were prepping that strike team, something about the accusers going in with some bombs and doing something. And I was like, the accusers? Wait a second. But I didn't get the context of it right away. So Jan Rog has his team, but then there are other pieces of the Kree military and stuff, because the accusers are kind of a big deal. They have huge ships. They like to bomb the crap out of planets, and they're led by Ronan, who is the bad guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. Ronan the Accuser. It's not... Maybe I should go back and watch Guardians, because I'm not clear if he's like a... In Guardians, it seemed like Ronan was sort of like a Osama bin Laden type figure. Like he was... he separated himself, maybe got exiled from his home, and now has become this terrorist master because he's on this crusade to eliminate all the somethings.
I think that's probably a legitimate assumption.
But in this movie, it looks like the Kree are just overall kind of bad. So now I want to know more. Maybe he wasn't exiled in that first Guardians movie. I don't know.
I don't know either.
So your question was Jan Rog acting on his own? I don't know. I don't remember your question anymore.
Thanks.
There's something about a group. You were asking if they were part of a group.
Do they work for a big? Are they like that? Are they like a strike team for?
Well, for the Kree Empire, like they're working for the what's
government?
It called? The Supreme Intelligence, right? They have a computer that controls their government.
Okay.
They're definitely taking orders from the Supreme Intelligence. I don't think there's any question about that. So yeah, I guess they're part of the government. And the average Kree citizen probably has no idea what's going on, because they just think Skrulls are bad and scary and they can take your skin and wear it. Basically. They make a great boogeyman, a great scapegoat. Just and the Skree. Did I say Skree? Damn it. I don't know what that is, but Skrulls.
That's when they get together.
Skree come from Kree. So if a Skree and a Skrull had a baby, it would be a Skree.
Right.
Skrull, Kree. Damn it. I don't even know what I just said. When the Skrulls are talking later about getting this ship going, and it wasn't just the people that were refugees on Mar-Vell's ship, it was also, they didn't use the word, but it's a diaspora, right? They said that there are Skrulls all over the universe on different planets, just scattered about. They lost their homeworld so long ago, they have nowhere to go. It's very
sad.
Again, well, sad, but also like It's very like, I guess, Jewy, for lack of a better word. I'll say that because I'm Jewish. But like that was a whole thing, like for so long. And my ancestors, like they didn't have a homeland either. Israel is a modern invention from 1943 or whatever that was. So there were Jews scattered all around, but they had no official homeland. They had little pockets of community, but no real connection to each other. And they were often, actually, come to think about it, they were always vilified, right?
Yep.
By so many other cultures and nations that they went to. Often the villain. So I guess Skrull are space Jews.
Okay.
Yeah. Space Jews. I'm okay with that.
Space juice.
Not juice. No, you don't want to drink a Skrull. Yucky. Okay, so the Tesseract. That's what it turns out this is all about, because of course it has to have an Infinity Stone in it somewhere, and the Tesseract has an Infinity Stone inside of it. So that's what was going to power the Lightspeed engine, although it didn't in the end. I guess they didn't have a Lightspeed engine in the end. They were just following Captain Marvel around or something. I don't know. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Because the Tesseract did not stay on that ship. They find Mar-Vell's ship. They find a bunch of Skrull inside. There's lots of fighting. Is that the part that got you all jazzed? The big fights with Captain Marvel at the end? You were saying you got all giddy at the end.
I did?
You just said that a little, like 10 minutes ago.
I did not say
you were like at the
giddy.
end, not giddy, but you were all, psyched up at the end. By the end of the movie, what part are you talking about?
Okay, so the relationship was established with her old friend. That was very touching.
Rambeau.
Okay.
That was her name. I think it was
the daughter.
Maria Rambeau.
And I think that was is that the way it was in the comics? Do you know?
No idea.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think they had a good choice of characters.
Okay.
I don't know. It's one of those, I felt like it was just a touch under Wonder Woman as far as like emotional empowerment. You know?
All right.
That's all.
But what was the part? You said there was a part at the end.
No, she had a huge fight. She was kicking everybody's ass. That whole part.
How about the kitty cat? The kitty cat was awesome.
Oh, the cat was awesome. Yeah.
Goose.
I liked that cat.
It was a fur something. Not a cat. It's a big spoiler there.
Is it Flerken
or something like that.
Flerken, yes.
It just sounds like a kid's toy. I want to go get some more Flerkens. You get a different one every time in the egg, and it's magic, and it hatches. Mm-hmm. Flerken? Might be a Flerken. That sounds right. Flerken.
We should.
Oh, yeah. I could Google it, but
That's all right.
Goose is not a cat. That's the point.
Right, he's like this weird octopus thing.
He's got a little Cthulhu inside him, and it just, tentacles come out. And he's sucked up the Tesseract to keep it safe, which was great. He's a good kitty.
That part was pretty funny.
I did read one thing briefly, like something about Flerkens have little pocket dimensions in their stomach. So it's not that he found room in that for him. He ate like 3 dudes too, right? He didn't have room in himself for that, but there's like a little like dimensional black hole gateway inside his tummy, and he can store things in there. Yeah.
No.
Well, how else are you going to eat 3 dudes and a Tesseract all in one day?
Okay.
I don't know. We'll have to look up Flerkens some other time, but Goose was awesome.
Yes.
He also scratched Nick Fury in the eye.
That was awesome.
Which I did. That's not the origin story I expected. I'm sure none of us did.
Do we know it?
Know what?
Is that really not like...
He was wearing an eye patch at the end of it. I'm guessing his eye's not going to get any better.
I wonder if that's really somewhere in a comic.
Oh.
That he got scratched by a cat.
Oof, gosh, that's a good question. Because in the comics, Nick Fury did a lot of different stuff, I think, in the early days, too. Like, he was a military guy, not the agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. necessarily. Mm-hmm. Or if he was, S.H.I.E.L.D. was not what it is in the Marvel movies, not right away. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of... And I don't even know if he was missing an eye back then in the old days of the comics. And he was a white dude, too. So they've changed Nick Fury a lot.
He was?
Originally, yeah.
Nice.
In the comics. Huh. So I don't know if he had an eye patch or not. And I certainly don't know if he lost his eye to a scratch from a Flerken. But it's an amusing story, nonetheless. Yeah. We got to see the cat cough up the Tesseract later.
That was pretty awesome.
And then that got me to thinking, and let's see if you can remember this. I had to look it up. We know the Tesseract was in the Captain America movies. First Captain America movie. Like it was the Hydra Nazis' big quest was to use that to make weapons or something.
Right.
But then it was in Thor Ragnarok. Loki pulled it from Odin's trophy room. So how did it get from Nick Fury's desk to Odin's trophy room? I forgot. But let's see if you remember.
I don't like being put on the spot.
What? Look, I didn't know it either.
Okay.
So you don't have to feel bad. I just wanted to see if you could figure it out.
What's the question?
How did the Tesseract get from Nick Fury's desk to Odin's trophy room in about a 25, 30 year span of time? 25 years. You can do it. All right, so I looked up the timeline on the Tesseract because I'm sure a lot of people listening probably don't remember either. Here's how it went down. Tesseract has an Infinity Stone inside it. I don't know that anyone knows how it got into that cube, but there's an Infinity Stone in that cube. But Odin found it once and put it in his trophy room. And then at some point, a bunch of... what are they called? Those Odin guys.
The ice... ice gargoyles.
Asgardians.
Oh.
Ice gargoyles.
I thought you were talking about the other guys.
No. No, those were ice giants, I think. Frost giants. So the Asgardians, and we don't know if it was an intentional or a boo-boo, but someone had it on Earth, and they just left it in Norway. Under the care of human worshippers of the Asgardians. So then in 1942, Johann Schmidt... What? Fast forward a bunch of years. Johann Schmidt, that's Red Skull, he finds it, and he starts building weapons out of it. Okay. And then it gets lost in the ocean because Captain America crashes that plane. And then they find Captain America, they dig him up in an ice block, but Howard Stark also was part of the expedition to find the downed ship, and he takes the Tesseract and starts playing around with it. And then...
that was Tony Stark's dad.
That was Tony Stark's dad, right. But he was working sort of hand in hand with the government, I think. So that's how eventually, especially since Howard Stark was probably no longer in the picture, it winds up in the hands of Marvel and Project Pegasus because she was using government resources to get it. So cool. Now, so the cat eats it and then coughs it up on Nick Fury's desk. And then it stays with S.H.I.E.L.D. for a long time. They're researching it for decades and not really figuring out what they can do with it, apparently. Because the part I forgot was that we did see it in the first Avengers movie. The one that was just called The Avengers. It was, I think, right in the very beginning of the movie. That one scientist dude, what's his name? Played by Stellan Skarsgård. See, I remember the actor. I feel good about that. I don't remember his name, but that scientist dude was like studying it, and then like Loki was kind of like playing around in his mind, and we saw like Loki in the mirror, but it was Stellan Skarsgård in real life. But that he accidentally opened up like a wormhole or something with the Tesseract, and Loki pops out of it, takes the Tesseract, starts poking people with that stick he had, which had an Infinity Stone in it, and turning them evil. And then he was using the Tesseract to open up that big portal in the sky in the Avengers movie, which had the Chitauri invasion coming out of it that almost destroyed New York. Mm-hmm. So after all that was done, Thor took the Tesseract for safekeeping and brought it back to Asgard and put it in the trophy room.
Wow.
You followed all that, right?
I did.
Okay. And then Loki took it out of the trophy room when Ragnarok was happening. And then Thanos got it from him and then crushed it and then took the stone out of it and put it on his fist. Right.
And all magically flew back together.
Yeah. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good job.
Well, I didn't remember all that by myself. I did have the internet to help me, but Most of it's still in my brain somewhere. I just had to recall it. I still don't remember that doctor's name. Yeah, so that's the Tesseract.
Okay.
And then let's see what else. What else about Captain Marvel? Got anything else to say?
Well, so she's got Tesseract through her body.
Well, I think what's in her body is energy that Marvel got from the Tesseract and turned it into that special star drive that was in that little ship.
Okay.
But it wasn't actually the Tesseract. Because then she'd just be like the Vision, who has a Infinity Stone inside him. Well, by most accounts, if not all accounts, she's the most powerful hero in the Marvel Universe. Not the cinematic universe, but like the Marvel Universe. And apparently she doesn't age.
Sexy.
Because she's there 30 years later looking just as good as ever.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Neato for her. Maybe. I don't know. That probably actually wouldn't be very fun.
Being young forever?
Yeah, because you watch everybody get old.
Oh, like a Highlander thing where you get all depressed because everyone you know will eventually die. Mm-hmm. Can't fall in love. Oh, but, okay. There was another Avengers Endgame trailer that we watched the other night. And it showed a couple things. It showed like a really depressed Iron Man and a really grim Captain America. Super totally looks like they're going to die.
Right.
But it also showed Thor meeting Captain Marvel. He like summoned his hammer. It like whizzed right by her head. She didn't flinch a bit.
He's like, I like this girl.
I like this one. He's kind of immortal too.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's all it takes, man. You just got to find a sexy immortal to go with your sexy immortalness.
Oh my God.
They'd make some pretty crazy babies.
Yes, they would.
She ain't got time for that though.
No, I don't think she's that.
She's busy saving the universe like all the time. Because she's been gone from Earth for 30 years. I guess babysitting the Skrulls or something, but...
She was in training.
Where was she when Guardians of the Galaxy was happening? Ugh.
In a different galaxy?
Well, she's not fond of the Kree. I'm just saying. If she was going to take down the Kree, that would have been a good time to do it. But she must have been... Where could she have been? If she missed the whole Infinity War... and didn't even have a clue what was going on with Thanos gathering up all the
She was in outer space.
It's a big place, I hear.
Vast.
Some would say infinite.
Could be,
but we don't really know.
Right.
It's just disappointing that she let all that happen. But it's good to know that she didn't get snapped away out of existence. We didn't talk about one of the best parts of Captain Marvel. In the Marvel Universe exists both A, actual Stan Lee, and B, Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah. So Stan Lee's been in all the Marvel movies forever, but he's just some weird random guy. We don't necessarily know if he has a name or what his story is or anything like that. And there's plenty of theories that he could even be like one of an immortal race of beings called the Watchers. Because we see him talking to some Watchers in, I think it was Guardians 2, when they're like blipping through all these different planets really, really fast. But this was actually Stan Lee. Because he was rehearsing his lines, reading the Mallrats script, and he was like going over and over this line that he says in the actual Mallrats movie. He was saying it right there while reading the script on a, what was it, like an L train or something. Mm-hmm. It was amazing.
Yeah. Do you remember what the line was?
Something, true believer.
That was it. Don't give up?
Fine, I'll look it up. You talk about how awesome it was. Talk about Kevin Smith. You saw his reaction video.
Well, right. I think it was the script and it said Mallrats by Kevin Smith on it. You could actually see that. And we watched that little short video of Kevin Smith when he got to see it. And of course he was all teary-eyed and he was so honored and got all choked up like he always does. But it was nice. He was very humble and kind of surprised to be in it.
He did know about it in advance, but I don't know that maybe like it prepares you to see it on screen, right? Oh, wait. Here. Wait, we have the scene here from Mallrats. Someone was nice enough to upload it to YouTube. Let's see if I can just hold it up here and make the magic happen. Let's make sure my volume's up. Okay.
Do yourself a favor, Brody. Don't wait. Because all the money, all the women, even all the comic books in the world, they can't substitute for that one person.
I don't know, all the comics in the world?
Trust me, true believer. Well, good talking to you.
Keep up all the good work.
You keep reading them. I'll keep writing them.
Trust me, true believer. There it is.
There it is.
There it is. Got your phone stuck on you.
Yes, it did.
All right, so let's wrap this one up. All right, so Captain Marvel, worth seeing, yes, of course, but hopefully if you're listening to this spoiler-filled podcast, you've
Already seen it and agree.
But
what do you think?
Yeah, we'd love to know what you think of Captain Marvel. You should tell us.
Yes.
So, boy, it's been a long time since we talked about this because it's been so long since we've done a podcast. But we have email, thekidfreeweekend@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
You are on Twitter.
Kid Free Weekend.
Mm-hmm. At Kid Free Weekend on Twitter. And you can also reach me at Pod of Thrones. And on Facebook. We're also on Facebook, the Kid Free Weekend there too. If you send us messages wherever you may find us, we'd be happy to read them and maybe talk about them on our next episode.
Totally.
And if not, that's okay too. But let us know what you think. So, anything else, babe?
No.
Should we go buy a little baby Flerken? Let Sophie, the kid-free dog, play with it?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go find one.
I bet they would be so cute together.
They really would.
They play.
Mm-hmm. Tentacles that Sophie can like roll around in. Mm-hmm. Oh, you always have someone to scratch your back. For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go work on that.
Okay.
All right. So we'll be back very soon with a whole bunch of new stuff. And I hope you like it. Until next time, trust me, true believer. Excelsior.
Excelsior. Where's Stan?